Do you want to fix healthcare now? We fix the police, mate.
Healthcare. I mean, I think I think when it comes to healthcare, we just have to kind of look to every other country that's industrialized except for us.
I
I mean,
the
you guys have the NHS, which I know isn't perfect, but hey man, I'll quote one of my favorite singer songwriters from your neck of the woods, Billy Bragg. He's like, look, uh, in my country, and he's referring to England. He's like, nobody dies because they can't afford their medical bills. We solved that freaking problem. It doesn't happen here. There's no
no,
reason why it should happen in the United States. That's one problem that we've solved. We solved it a long time ago. Nobody dies because they can't afford to pay their medical bills or because they're worried that, they can't afford the treatment. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in England. It doesn't happen in Canada. It doesn't happen in France. It doesn't happen in Italy. It doesn't happen in Germany, Ireland. Doesn't happen. Happens here in the U.S. And that needs to end. We got the proposal out there. We got Medicare for all. It's out there. It's a single payer system, like most of the industrialized world has. I think it's what's it? Is it Sweden or There's one country that does a privatized system, kind of like ours.
Switzerland.
Switzerland, yes, thank you. But theirs is still way different because it's very heavily monitored
Yeah.
and there's a lot of regulations and protections. So yeah, they are private companies, but there's still a lot of oversight and they still have similar problems to us because it's way more expensive over there than a lot of other places. Switzerland's more expensive than a lot of other countries because of that.
The education system in Switzerland is a hell of a lot better as well, so you don't get the mental health problems that you've got over in America. And the one thing that I do know about Switzerland is their gun laws are much the same as America's in Switzerland. However, because they haven't got, the systemic problems in America, they haven't got their schools being shot up every week. I know one of the things that I always think back on is there's a motor journalist called over here called Jamie Clarkson. I don't know whether you know of him. He's on Top Gear, or he used to be. And
Mm-mm.
he was pulled over in Switzerland once because his car was too loud, and the police gave him a ticket because his car was too loud and didn't
No,
say a
they didn't
word.
just shoot the radio. They didn't do that.
No, no, they didn't do that. But not only that, they didn't say a word to him about the loaded AK-47 that was on his passenger seat.
Oh wow.
So in Switzerland they do things very similar in Switzerland, but it's just it's really weird because of the way, and obviously it's a smaller country, smaller economy,
Right.
and it's easier to get a hold of. But I mean, the healthcare
Well, I
system
think they have more. I do think they actually have more rules as far as like where certain
oh,
guns need to be kept.
oh for
Like,
sure,
like it needs to be kept at a range. They
yeah, they're
do have more
sensible.
rules. Yeah, it's much more sensible. Like they do have rules as far as training is concerned, and
But
I don't.
ownership over there per capita is really quite high if you
Right,
look at.
right. It is, but there are a lot more rules around it than there are in the United States comparatively, or at least a fair amount more. Because here it's like it's so dependent upon state, because it's all about state rights, and so there's certain parts of the U.S. where there actually is a pretty extensive procedure if you want to own a firearm. But there's other states in the United States where if you have a pulse, they'll sell you a gun. So it really varies by state, and so basically anybody who wants to get their hand on a firearm in the United States can. Anybody.
The
Um,
the 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 healthcare system in America, though, the thing that makes it that see, I came over in 2008 to America when Obama actually was anointed. When he won the election, everybody was very hopeful that there was going to be change.
yeah, we
Uh,
were, and then egg on our face, man. That
uh,
was it was whoops.
how he fooled us all.
Yeah.
And I was taken aback actually with the healthcare system, or rather lack thereof. I had a friend. This is my story, my American story. My friend in America, who's a singer, great singer, really wonderful voice, and he had a health scare when he was young, about 5-10 years ago, and or 5 years before I met him, and he nearly died. I think it was problem with his pancreas he had or something like that. And because of that, his healthcare premium went up, and he
Yeah.
couldn't afford his healthcare premium just doing the singing. So he had to take a job as a car sprayer, a sprayer with put the mask on and the spray the panels, the he's a singer, you don't want that getting in your throat. Well, so he has to take that, not because to pay his bills are on, but because it comes with healthcare. So he's had to take a second job. He got cancer a few years back. He's okay. He got through it now. But he got cancer, and even though he'd taken this second job, and he was working 40 hours a week for a job that he hated just to be able to get his insurance, he had to go on GoFundMe to raise, I think, $6,000 for the deductible. Is it you call it over there? And he managed to get through it, and he's still around. But over here, that would be free at the point of service. Everything would be paid for. Everybody chips in, so nobody gets left behind. And it's Joe Biden, for instance, in one of the Democratic debates, bless him, that they were talking about healthcare, and Bernie was obviously talking about healthcare, and he put his arms out like that. Joe Biden did and said, nobody said how much it's going to cost. It's like half, Joe. It's going to cost half as much as you're paying, and everybody's going to be covered, and you're not going to have 45,000. I mean, how many people are uninsured there now after they've just gutted Obamacare or tried to gut Obamacare in the middle of the night, haven't they? And obviously
They're
you've had
trying,
how many millions are unemployed after this coronavirus now?
Yeah,
this
I think
is
we got
this
about
is something
40
that's
million.
you've got to get a hold of this healthcare surely now.
Oh yeah, I mean, if this isn't the wake up call, it's unbelievable. And the problem is that Joe Biden has promised he would veto Medicare for all. Donald Trump certainly wouldn't even consider it. So it's like, well, what are we gonna, And we don't really have. I mean, the one thing that this pandemic's done a lot of things, but one of the very glaring things is it's made us see just how ineffective and just corrupt our federal government is. And it is, even somebody like me who's very much a skeptic and, covers this stuff daily and talks about it on his show. Even I did not think it was this messed up, where you have, they're basically just an ATM for Wall Street, and that's what they exist to do. I mean, the American people have been completely abandoned. We were given a one-time payment of $1,200. That was months ago. Small businesses are not making it because they've been given no relief. They've been given no help. This PPP loan was a total scam. It just awarded the richest among us. They transferred trillions to Wall Street. The trillionaires in the United States have gotten $434 trillion richer, where everyone else is suffering. And I just we're on route to getting our first trillionaire. Jeff Bezos is going to be the world's first trillionaire. And I just say, hey, look, what do you call a country that's on its way to getting its first trillionaire while simultaneously it has people lined up for food, a la the Great Depression? You called that a failed state. This is a failed state. I mean, there's no getting around it. The United States is a totally failed state. I don't even think it's fair to call it a country. I just call it, we're just a corporation with state lines south of Canada. And that's why you occasionally get those messages from me asking if you need a roommate.
I thought you were serious when I was like, yeah, no problem. You can do on my couch. I'm just. I get it though. I get it. It's. I can't imagine. I can't imagine living in a country where, you're afraid to visit the doctor because of how much, it might cost just to visit him and get an opinion. I can't imagine that, and I also, you've got to question: are you being run by a government or are you being run by the mafia? If your health is up for sale.
It's very mafia-esque, absolutely. I mean, the way we do everything is, I mean, it's pretty much, the billionaire class and the donor class has our politicians in their pocket. They have our judges in their pocket,
Hmm.
and decisions are made at their behest. Big pharma has a control on government. That's why Joe Biden won't honor the words Medicare for all. He gets a lot of money from big pharma.